Hello everyone, my name is Peter Quant and this is the first video of Europa Promotion. Europa Promotion is a project that I'm starting to try to help spread understanding of the European Union and promote the European Union and try to protect the European Union from some of the criticism that is being leveled against it. Since the financial crisis in 2007-2008, Europe has had its fair share of problems, and since the sovereign debt crisis, those problems have become quite big. In some countries, they're really terrible. Greece, for example, is maybe the worst case. Now, since the European sovereign debt crisis, there's been a lot of criticism of the European Union and how the European Union handles the problems caused by the crisis. And many people now even feel that the European Union is the cause of this crisis, that the European Union makes it bad, or makes it worse. And it's now come to a point where many countries and many citizens of the European Union feel very negatively about the European Union. The worst case is maybe England, where people are talking about leaving the European Union altogether, and there's supposed to be a referendum in 2017 about whether or not Britain should stay in the European Union. Some of this criticism is fair, reasonable. European Union is not a perfect organization. There are many things maybe that could be improved upon it. There are certainly some very serious problems as well. Decision-making processes are less than perfect. And so such criticism is reasonable and fair. However, it seems now that this criticism is leading a life of its own and has poisoned the whole debate about Europe. It seems now Europe can do nothing right. It seems now that people are doubting whether the European Union was a good idea to begin with. When in 2012 the Oslo Nobel Committee gave the European Union its Nobel Peace Prize, there were many negative and bitter reactions. People thought this was ridiculous. There were comments that the only thing the European Union has ever been good for is as a source of humor. I am sure that that level of cynicism and bitterness is not justified. And I'm afraid that if there are no alternative sounds, if nobody stands up to say, wait, the European Union is also something that's very valuable and that we should cherish and that we should fix and improve upon and not discard, that if we allow this bitterness to persist, that we might lose something that is of inestimable value to Europe, and in fact, I believe of inestimable value to the future of the world. So that's why I'm making this video, and I hope many other videos will follow it. The purpose is to protect the European Union, to help improve the European Union, to be a positive sound in what has become a very negative debate about the European Union. Why do I think the European Union is important? We live in a time now, in the early 21st century, where our planet is under threat from global warming, from nuclear weapons and nuclear weapon proliferation, resource depletion, the largest extinction of species that the world has seen since the end of the dinosaurs, international crime, so many enormous problems whose only solution can lie in our working together. We must cooperate. The people of the world, the nations of the world in which people are organized, must cooperate if we are to survive these problems. If we are not to boil off our planet, if we are not to wipe ourselves out with nuclear weapons, if we are to stop this pollution, this depletion of species, this cutting down of forests, this emptying of oceans, it can only be because we work together. If we do not work together, we are doomed. Everything on this planet that is bigger than a thumb will die. And I don't want that to happen. I want the human race to survive. I love the human race. I love our culture. I love music. I love art. I love literature. I love going to the movies. I like seeing my friends. I like having a child and raising it. I want people to survive. And I want the environment to prosper. I want the world to be clean. I want the animals to have a home. I want there to be fish in the rivers. And and whales in the oceans and birds in the sky. And the way things are going now, that's not going to happen in the future. So, if we are to survive, if we are to have a world that is beautiful, then we must cooperate, we must work together. And the European Union does that, and it does it better than any other organization in the world. It does it better than the United Nations. It does it better than bilateral agreements between countries. It does it better than the African Union or God knows what other organizations there are in the world. The European Union leads the world when it comes to trying to stop climate change. It is the best organization in the world for improving understanding between people, for creating a more peaceful world, a more prosperous world, a more beautiful world, a world where there is room not just for people but also for animals, where the air is clean, where the water is clean, there are fish in the oceans. The European Union does these things very, 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 very well. Very well. Much better than anyone else. I believe that the future of our species depends on the evolution of the human race from a species that is ruled by violence, by power, to a species that is ruled by law. The European Union is that. The European Union is an organization where countries unite and agree to be ruled by law, international law. The European Union is the future. There is no other future. If we have a future, it looks like the European Union. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect organization. It needs to be improved on. It needs to be fixed up. It can be better. But if we're going to have a future, it's going to look something like the European Union. It's not going to come from a lot of countries listening to one country. It's not going to come from countries making lots of agreements with other countries. There are too many countries. It doesn't work. It won't happen. We need to work together. The European Union does that very, very, very well. And so I believe it is worth protecting. Now, I believe that if the European Union doesn't survive, we have no future. And so it must survive. It must not only survive, it must prosper, it must spread, it must inspire others, other countries, as it has inspired others in other countries to do better and to solve the problems that we're living with, to give us a future, to give us hope. That's what the European Union is. It's hope. That's what I believe. Now there's so much negativity about the European Union that I fear that people are thinking about discarding that hope, killing that hope. That would be a huge mistake. That would be a terrible mistake. And that's why I want to make these videos, to send the signal that there are people who feel that the European Union is a good thing and that it must be improved upon, and it must prosper, and it must live, it must thrive. The European Union is the future. I know there are many people who believe this, who understand this. And that's why I want to try to make Europa Promotion a place where other people who understand this can also voice their feelings and voice their concerns and their hopes. That's what this is about. It's about all our futures. Thank you.